Okay, welcome to the Lobo Podcast. Today's guest is Anthony Bonazzo. He's a stand-up comedian from Chicago. He headlined Zanies right before the pandemic. He's going to be headlining Zanies again in Chicago week of May 21st. Anyways, we talk about his time in Alaska, why he moved to Seattle for some girl he met in a car accident, starting up mics, the scene, how he lived on a boat, how he made out with a Playboy bunny, the time I had butt sex in Beloit. So check out Mescal Mondays this Monday coming up, 8 p.m. There's a few tickets left. Again, it's going to be headlined in the weekend of the 21st at Zanies. Hit up James Webb if you want to start a Patreon, and hit up, go to the Patreon. Start a podcast. Patreon. Lobo Den. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is Giovanni Diaz. Do I ever use my full name? I don't know, but this is Giovanni from the Lobo Den Podcast. I'm back. Me and James have not seen each other in a while, right?
It's been forever, dude.
It's been a forever, dude, because we didn't record last week because I went to Tennessee.
Oh, boy.
And then now I'm back, but today I'm back with, I didn't ask how to pronounce your last name.
How do you think it's pronounced?
Bonazzo.
Very good.
Hey, Anthony Bonazzo.
You didn't butcher it in your first try. Very good job.
I mean, I've heard your name a bunch of times.
I've gotten the Benedetto, and I'm like, I don't know where you got the D from, but good job.
No, I've got one.
Bonazzo.
I have Giovanni with a JH.
Yeah,
which is just Giovanni. You're Italian.
Yeah, that throws it off a little bit.
Yeah. No, okay. I was going to ask you for your mom, but that's later. If you have any mob connection, but that's later.
Of course I do.
But I have Giovanni with a JH, so it's supposed to be Giovanni. But then it's spelled.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my parents didn't know how to spell, so they sound it phonetically, and it's all messed up. So I've gotten all kinds of having Jehovah's. So
Jehovah's Witness. You're just everything, man.
Jehovah's Witnesses. We talked about them on the podcast. They're very, very prominent in Hollywood. The Damons. What is it? The Wayans, right?
The Wayans,
Are they really?
The one rapper who, and he's also a comedian who has that video when he's like, "This is America." Oh wow, what am I doing? With was it an AR-15?
Oh, God, I didn't know that.
Donald Glover,
Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah's Witness. Don't even look it up. It's right. All right. It's Donald Glover is a Jehovah's.
That's my final answer.
He grew up with a bunch of they brought a bunch of foster kids, not like that Mia Farrow lady who's in the news, right? Or this is weeks ago when that documentary came out.
I haven't heard that. I didn't know that. That's news to me.
Yeah, Donald Glover, bunch of Jehovah's. So they're the Wayans, Donald Glover, and there were some other good ones.
Man,
challenge is serious about rappers.
Man,
what are you Irish? What is it? Not Irish? Catholic?
Yeah.
What do you go
Catholic,
Jersey?
A lot of guilt from that. Yeah.
Why'd you move to Seattle? For how long were you there in Seattle?
Oh shit! I forgot that I was even there.
Wow. Good.
You're like, how does he know my background?
Get used to that.
What were you doing dating that girl Rebecca?
Gibson. Okay.
That was a girl story. There's no like polished story, but it was just I lived in Alaska for 2 years. I met her in a car accident.
You hit her or
like no, like I was literally I punched her. No, I was driving. Like, get out of the car.
Hey.
No, I was driving and I saw that there was a car in front of her that like just slammed on their brakes. I think it was like they were texting. This was like before I even had a cell phone. That's how old
T9. They were T9,
but they were way ahead of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
They were texting. And then they just stopped short, and they went flying into her, and then I was like, oh shit, and I jumped out of the car, and I was like consoling her, and she was like, stay with me. And the ambulance came, and I was like, yeah, I love you. And then she got in the ambulance, drove away, and like 2 nights later, I was at a bar, and my friend's like, look, who's that girl? She's like staring at you, and I looked over, and she started waving, and I walked out, I'm like, oh my God, you were in the accident. And then we just talked till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Alaska.
Drove her home, we started dating, we dated for like
ice
2 years.
fishing.
Yeah. Started hunting elk and grew a beard, and then got my $1,200 check to live there, and we had a baby. No, and then she's like, I'm going to school in Seattle, and she basically was like, I don't want you to come. And then like I went away for like a week, and she's like, I want you to come. And then I moved to Seattle, and then everything hit the fan after like a year. And I was like, okay, I'm getting out of here. And then I actually, I drove cross country. I was going to either move to Denver or Virginia. I wasn't sure where I was going to go. Mm-hmm. And I just partied in Denver for like 2 weeks. And I was like, I got to get out of here. And then I went to Virginia.
This is before marijuana was
legal. No, yeah. It was definitely before. But I had like an entire Jeep full from my old building manager named, what the hell was his name? Ozzy. He's like, if you give me your curtains, I'll give you an ounce of weed. And I gave him like curtains from my apartment, and he just loaded up my Jeep. And then I got to Virginia, and I'm like, what am I doing here? This place is terrible. And it grew on me. But then that's where I actually first did stand up. It was at like a Richmond Funny Bone had an amateur comedy night, and I signed up for it like literally hours before, and it was quite the experience.
How'd it go?
It was good, but like it wasn't like like when people are like, oh, it was like cocaine, like you killed. I didn't bomb. It was more just a funny experience because that was like your first exposure to like how neurotic and insane comics are. Like some guy was like, oh man, I'm just a dad. I've always wanted to do this. I'm just gonna have fun, man. I'm just gonna tell the kids I'm gonna have fun. And he goes up on stage and he just drops the mic and just starts humping the floor. He's like, who wants to fuck? And I'm like, this guy was like the nicest guy 10 minutes ago. I'm like, what is happening? This other guy was like pacing, and he's like, I have to pee. I have a bladder infection. I've been so nervous all day. And I'm like, dude, if you get stuck up there, just say you're nervous and you have a bladder infection from this. He's like, that'll kill. So he goes up and he's bombing, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I have a bladder infection. They're like, boo, get him the hell out of here. And I'm like, okay, guess I don't give tips on comedy now.
Oh, you ruined his life.
Yeah, I ruined his comedy career, but that's okay. We need a Dr. Kevorkian for comedy sometimes. Just end people's careers before they get going.
Do you know who Michael Cooper is? Is that his name?
Oh, come on.
You haven't black? Is he black? Well, I know because I've seen you like kind of put a post to give advice. Did I introduce you? You do comedy in Chicago. You're very funny. You headline Zanies.
By the way, here's this weird guy that we're talking to.
You did with March before COVID, right before you headline Zanies at Old Town.
March 1st. I was like on top of the world, and all of a sudden like, yep, nope, we're shutting everything down. Close the machine down. And I'm like, all right, cool, nice to make that headway. But
I've seen you put posts up and like, cause you get a lot of messages from up-and-coming comedians who's like, they see you like, oh, you're doing this in comedy bar. How do you do it? What's the shortcut?
Yeah. Like, hey man, I've been doing comedy 3 weeks. How do I headline Zanies? I crushed at the Tuesday 10 when my parents were there. How do I headline Rosemont? So I eventually, I try to like not be a dick. If people respond, I'm usually pretty helpful. But it just was getting like out of control the last couple of weeks, and I finally put up another status, and then people seem to have been scared off for a little bit. Although there's certain people that just like, yeah, I read it. What's that email for the booker? And now I'm just like, just scroll up, dude. Like that conversation is still there. You can just scroll up.
So the gist of it is like, put in the work. There's different sides of comedy, the comedy and the business. Like you can't just be funny and then ignore the business, and then there's a bunch to it, and like
you
the
have
gist of it.
It's also time. Like you got to be versatile. You got to be able to switch things up and not be so like rigid and be like, I'm gonna do this set, and if they don't laugh, it's the crowd, they suck. When it's like, all right, that's why I was trying to compare like every comedy club in Chicago to like it's a different date. Like certain rooms are like, we want to like just talk and listen to whatever. Like I feel like that's how like Zanies in Old Town is. It's very like, we're here to watch, we're here to listen. Like intellectually, we want to be stimulated. And you go to a comedy bar, it's like a bunch of tourists. They're like, we don't know what's going on. Show us around town. And the Laugh Factory's like, let's get loaded and party. Like they're like already ready to go. And that's just, people have to realize that's each different room has a different vibe, and you got to kind of make an adjustment according to that. And once you figure that out, though, it's super fun because then you can, you start like just owning that, and you're like, oh, okay, oh, that's all it took was I just needed to like talk to the audience for 5 minutes before I just jump into my set about my grandmother crapping. It's like, oh, okay. So
who should quit?
That's what I put a post a couple weeks ago. I put there's too many Dane cooks in the kitchen, and if people want to quit, like don't encourage them not to. There's too many comics. And I got like lambasted. This comic like told me that I was like not an ally, and that my career is fine, and like I'm white and it's easy for me. And I was just like, what? Like, I'm like, here I am. Like my fingers are hurting from the 14th email that I've sent back to some new kid from Iowa, and I'm like, oh, I'm not helping anybody. Come on, man. So that was a little annoying, but I was just like, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know the stuff that I'm doing, behind the scenes, and they're just angry. And
somebody, and it's a listener. They message me, and they're like, hey, what should, like, I want to get back into content and into comedy or stand-up, but I don't know what I should do, or like I don't want to say what they was,
Right.
right? Because I don't want to.
Get in trouble.
Whatever, it was a chick. All right, it was a chick. I think I already told my girlfriend that. She DM'd me. Anyway, so it was a chick, right? And then I kind of told her, I sent her a voice message because I don't want to type it. Plus, it's evidence that could be screenshotted.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I was like, basically, like, look, if you're not into it, then maybe don't go back and do stand up. Like I said, assess what your life, like what you want to do. Like, do you want to do it? Like, if you're asking somebody else, hey, motivate me to do it, maybe take a break or don't do it, or you really don't want to do it, because it's like, I think I heard you talking about this. Like, people, I don't know, they force themselves to
Go through it.
To go through
Yeah,
it,
it's
and
like
then
they don't
hate
realize
themselves.
quitting is an option.
Yes.
And it's like they're miserable. They go to the mic like, oh, I waited 25 hours to go up at Cole's, and then I went to Kedzie Inn at 6 a.m. and did 2 minutes, and it bombed for the 4th time that night, and I'm not getting booked at the Improv. Son of a bitch. You know, so they always have like, and there's always every reason except that they just are not funny. It's never them. It's always an external, Bert doesn't like me. They don't like me at the Laugh Factory or whatever. It's like, maybe it's that 5 minutes that you did 12 times. Didn't work 12 of 12. Like, why do you think it's going to work on a stage in front of real people?
Yeah.
It's not working in front of comics.
Oh yeah, because they forgot. Like, because I'm from the suburbs, so I've performed everywhere, right? Because for me to go to a mic, it's like 50 minutes. So I would come to the city and do the mic.
That's like a different hustle because you're like commuting. It's like an hour sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like an hour. So then I have to think about my time. Like, I'm not gonna go and do 5 mics in a night. I got maybe 1 or 2.
Right.
Then I'm gonna take my ass home because I got that hour, so I could dedicate that time either writing or whatever. But I see, like, you can start seeing people out at the mics. It's like, are you just hanging? Or, and it's like,
If you have to be strategic. It's like, especially if you're an adult.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, all right. Should I go to trigger warning at 3 a.m. and like kill in front of 2 people, or should I go home and rest because I have work in the morning?
Yeah,
It's like, so that's the other thing is like, I just feel like people just they watch like what everybody's doing that's succeeding. And then they do whatever the scene is telling them to do, and then they just throw it up, but they don't do what's working individually for them. Like
how is I've never done Cole's. How is because I've always
I have not done Cole's since I love that bar. It's just like a half hour for me. I went there every week for 2 years, and I think I bombed every week except once. And then I was like, I just can't do this to myself anymore.
Oh, okay.
And then I just started having a career right after that. I was like, it's not Cole's fault. It was just that was just I just didn't mesh with that room. It was just a lot of time. You got to commit a lot of time when you're young and you're starting out.
Yeah, for people who don't know, non-comics, Cole's is like, it's, I guess, a staple in the Chicago comedy scene. Why do people go there? Because they have a real audience? I don't know. I've never went, but I've heard comics tell me, like, do they have an actual audience? Like, I don't know. I go to the Burbs sometimes, so I get real audiences or dungeons. Do they not? Or what's the deal with
it? It's like a mix of an audience and comics. It gets packed.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, all right. So that's why people go. Make it or break
that's where I think it's tricky, and and this is what I did, and whether it works for everybody is not. As I would purposely try to find like open mics that were not like on the radar, like sometimes like improv teams would like hit me up. They're like, hey, we're doing this show. There's gonna be like an audience. Do you want to come and do like 20 minutes? And I would go there, and I was like, oh my god, this is like a real show. There's like 20 people in the audience, and that to me was so much more productive than being like, all right, I'm gonna go to this bar in Wrigley and in the basement, and there's six comics that might laugh, So I just think you have to be strategic all around. Like, what am I gonna, and be really good about mental health. Be like, I'm not gonna let this damage me because I know it's not. It's like the Jerry Maguire moment where you have to be like, it's not. It's not your, or the Good Will Hunting. It's like, it's not your fault. Like, it's not your fault.
I feel we're both adults. I mean, I'm an adult now. I've been an adult for a few years. But the last few years.
I've been an adult for a minute.
But yeah, I've done adult things the last. That sounded not in a second. Well, anyways, I've been an adult, right? I've had a job. I've helped family and stuff. But in the time, I've had my moments where like I've gone off the rails completely. Strippers, other things, substances, whatever. But I started comedy as an adult, and I had a job, and I was like, I had a full-time responsible, so I looked at it differently versus, I don't know, if I started like at 21 and I was drinking,
Right.
When did you go to Alaska? How old were you?
Oh.
And why did you go to Alaska?
Well,
did you kill somebody?
Yeah, I was hiding for a little while.
That's why people go, right?
Yeah, exactly. The first year it was just volunteer work. I was like right out of college, and I didn't want to just start working, so I just moved as far out of
Green
feels like
peace.
it felt like out of the country actually,
Yeah.
because they were like, you can do the international program and go to like Fiji, but it's a 2 or 3 year commitment, and I'm like, I don't want to commit that long to anywhere that I've never been.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the furthest like U.S. region? They're like, well, you go to Alaska, and I remember I looked at Bethel, which is like pretty close out like to north, almost like the North Pole, and I was talking, like they make you interview with the people before you go out there, and they're just like, it's really dark, it's really sad. We have to poop into a bucket, and they only comes like once a week to pick it up. And I'm like, I don't feel like this is going to be good for me. And then I talked to this other girl, which is the city I ended up going to in Sitka, and she's like, it's amazing. We go on hikes. There's eagles. It's not even cold here. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go here. So then I ended up going there, stayed there for a year, and then I moved home, and then I moved back, and I lived on a sailboat, and then... That was pretty
Who
much
were you on the sailboat with?
myself. I like just went back. I didn't have a rental, so then this girl that I knew was like, "We're renting out our houseboat." She's like, "It's $100 a month." So I was like, "Okay." And I had like,
Was this in the East Coast, right?
what's that? This is in Sitka.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
in Alaska.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was like I had my own little kitchen, I had like a bedroom and a stove, and it was like, like I don't know. I thought it was amazing. And I remember one night I was like cooking. I'm like, oh, I got the life. I'm cooking. I'm living on a boat in Alaska, and all of a sudden I got the TV on. I got Christmas lights, and all of a sudden, and like everything goes out, and it's cold out, and of course raining. And I'm like, I have no clue what the hell I'm doing with the boat. All I knew was that I lived there and paid the electric bill, and I like totally pulled like a MacGyver. I ran out in the rain. I'm like, God help me, and I like ripped the power strip off, and somehow figured out that a fuse was burned out and like replaced it, and then I flipped the power back on. I'm like, just don't ever cook, watch Seinfeld, and have the Christmas lights going all at once again. You'll be good. So, but that wore off after like a year, because you start to smell like kerosene, and you're not really getting like a night's sleep because you're not really on a mattress. You're on like a
Were you
cushion.
getting laid?
Well, that's when I started dating a girl, and then
okay.
she came. We would hang out there, and
So you guys met in Alaska?
yeah, that was the car accident
Yeah,
story.
yeah, the
and then I was
accident.
like, all right, I got to get out of here because this is bad. Like, I can't be bringing a girl to my boat, I'm going to go to my boat. This boat's a rockin'. And one day I came home, and there was like seals that would like jump out of the water when you came home. And I went grocery shopping, and it like jumped out. I was like, and I like scared the shit out of me. I was like, ah! And I threw my keys, and they went in the water. And I'm like, you fucking seal! And I threw my hands up, and the harbor master's like, well, we could send a magnet down, but we might not find them. And he's like looking around. We never found the keys. I'm like, you damn seals.
Like the animals, right? Not the scar-faced singer.
He actually seal actually jumped out, and he asked me if I'd ever been kissed by a rose in the rain, and then that's when I got scared. I'm like, seal, what are you doing here?
Did you kill anything when you were in Alaska?
No.
Did you? No.
Fish. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I fished. I went deep sea fishing, which was insane because it's like you have a whole new respect for the whole industry. I had a king salmon on my line, and it was like 45 minutes, and the guy's like, this is it, man. You got to keep going. I'm like, I feel like I just like ran a mile. He's like, keep going. My arm was so tired. I like took a nap after it got on board. He pulls it up on board. He's like, all right, it's dead. He's like, you did it, and he just clubbed it and cut it open, and he's like, go lay down, and I like we literally needed like a nap after that. It was like 2 hit workouts, but like 25-minute long hit workouts, but when you get home and you eat it, it's like the best fish ever. Like it totally ruins you. It's not like you're like a coffee snob, like a fish snob, like you just can't eat fish here. It's like you're like, what am I eating? This is trash, So I don't eat fish anymore here.
At all?
I try, but it's a horrible experience. I actually started ordering fish
from Alaska?
From Sitka to be shipped, and it's expensive as all hell. But I only do it once in a while because I feel like
Can you get crab legs?
You can get everything, and it's phenomenal. Like it comes on ice, and everything's frozen and flash frozen, and it's fantastic.
Because I just got some crab legs at Meyer. How do you call that place? Meyer.
What is that?
On the Wisconsin link card.
Oh, nice.
So we bought crab legs. So we're like,
These might be a little bit better.
It was good.
We got them at this place called Aldi's Crab Legs.
Well, we went to. They were in the bag. They were semi-fresh. They were nice. But then we went to when I went to the Walmart in Tennessee, they did not. Oh, Tennessee. Do you like? Have you traveled? Do you like the South? I think I want to move to the South.
It's okay.
No, I'm not a fan.
It depends where.
I don't know. I was at a Walmart. There's a guy with his Glock on his hip.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. And it was. I didn't have. I can breathe. I can't breathe through my nose. I have a deviated septum, and I have all these. I don't know if it's a sinus thing, but when I was in Tennessee, I don't know if it's because the trees or the air. I could breathe through my nose, and I can never breathe through my nose. Both of them are always clogged
Did you
up.
grow up here?
Basically, yeah. Well, I was born in Los Angeles. I hate LA now. I think it's a shithole. It should burn to the ground.
Well, it was for a while.
Oh, it's beautiful. And then I lived in this area since I've been like 6, basically.
Okay.
1 through 6, I was here, and I lived, in the suburbs, Highwood. Then I went up to Waukegan, and I'm in Beach Park.
I never had allergy problems until I moved to Chicago.
Is that a thing?
Like every
My
friggin'
friend just
year.
moved to Florida, and he's living in Florida. He's like, I have no allergies down here.
I'm like getting sinus infections and on like allergy meds. I'm like, what happened to me? When
Same.
when did I become that guy? I'm like, I need my nasal inhaler.
When did this start happening for you? Like recently?
No, like I've been there almost 12 years, and it was probably like the 3rd year in, maybe.
Okay.
And it's been nonstop,
yeah.
literally.
I was
nonstop.
breathing. I was driving. I was breathing through my nose, and I was like,
That's where it
never-
gets tough with COVID, because you're like, do I have COVID, or just my entire system is shot from
Dude,
the horrible allergies here?
I don't want to hijack the show, but like I had started getting allergies like 3 years ago, and I'm 35. So
Yeah.
like, what the fuck
You're
is
like, why is
going
this
on?
developing now?
But like, and it only like if we ever go out of state or anything, like, and it's spring or whatever, I'm always fine.
Yeah. It's,
Chicago sucks.
dude,
What
it's-
is it? Is it pollen?
You gotta like run a humidifier all the time when you sleep.
Yeah,
Like winter, 24/7, 365 days a year.
it's the worst, dude.
And I found like a couple of herbs that really help, and that's about it. And like a nasal spray. I'm like an old 57-year-old man. I'm like, I gotta get my
So happy this is happening to somebody else.
humidifier on. I can't sleep because if I don't put it on, like I literally will like wake up choking because I'm just like so backed up. Like I've fallen out of bed. Like I got tested for sleep apnea. He's like, you don't have it. You just your sinuses are horribly clogged at night. You got to run a humidifier. I'm like, I do. He's like, well, that's probably your life. I'm like, oh great. So I got to travel with a friggin' humidifier like a loser. Let's get this little mister.
How big are they?
Oh, it's only like this. And you can get one that like literally it fits into a water bottle. It just converts the water bottle into a spray bottle. But it's not fun when you wake up like choking to
What if
death.
you put Molly in the water? If it don't, no, I don't do that stuff anymore. I never did actually, never did. But
Never did Molly.
no, I'm not gonna ask about drugs. But oh wow, I want to do that because I just
You have to.
oh
If you have these
I
problems.
can't sleep. Like I'm tired. I've been back and I haven't slept well, and and I can't breathe out of my nose. So what I do is I churn. Do you ever get what is it called? Sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. Not cool. It's terrifying.
Horrifying.
So basically, you
But
wake
cool.
up. Yeah, you wake up, and then your mind wakes up, but then your body's
Body's
not up, so you
frozen.
can't move. So it's like, what the hell? Like, what I would do, I can move a little bit when I would get out, like be able to bite my lip or something. So I'm
Right.
like, I'd bite my lip and get out and try to wake up. But it happened to my friend the other day. And he was like, Jovi, come in here, help! I can't move. And it was like,
He was talking?
yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was like, look, man, it's just sleep paralysis. You'll be fine. He's
Just
like, there's
sleep
somebody in here
paralysis.
because sometimes I guess people get it. They feel like there's someone over them.
Right.
I haven't gotten that.
That was
one.
like that documentary, the what's that called?
the R. Kelly one.
What was it called? The Shadow Man. That like apparently like if you have sleep apnea, like 9 out of the 10 people have the same vision
Yeah,
of this
yeah.
really tall, scary shadow man.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's
like you see it in
terrifying.
if you look up if you look up sleep paralysis, Google image it.
Oh yeah, night
Yeah.
terrors and
Night
shit.
terror.
Yeah, the
yeah.
Shadow Man. I think that was his name.
He's a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. He just wants to know if you'll join Shadow Bird. Type in sleep paralysis too. That should give you the. Maybe I'm getting the name.
Did
wrong.
anybody else see the doc? I haven't seen it. The documentary with Woody Allen and
I've
Mia-
watched some of it. I filmed part of it on my phone because I was laughing so hard at one of the lines. He's like, I love how that she's asking me if I'm a pedophile. Like I could have been a pedophile a long time ago if I really wanted it. And I'm like, what?
What?
Who says that?
Dude,
Who says that? You just pretty much like convicted yourself.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
no,
that
that's
guy-
like
he's
the
usually
gargoyle.
not that short.
What's-
He-
I thought maybe
it's
I'm getting the
longer.
name
Oh,
wrong.
go to the first image.
Shadow Man. I thought it was Shadow Man.
There's somebody's on top of you. The sleep paralysis one.
Yeah, like you can't get
I
up.
can't remember his name. There's a movie. If you type in documentary too, type in documentary. There's like it'll give you the name for sure. Sleep paralysis documentary.
I saw a lady from West Virginia. I was at the pool in Tennessee, right?
Oh, not to cut you up, but that's where the Mothman was the first sighting.
In
of
West Virginia.
Virginia. We stopped in the Mothman Museum. It was not good, but it was cool. Like
How do you know about the Mothman?
because all the sightings that were around Chicago the last couple of years.
So I was as a kid, I was obsessed with the paranormal.
Oh, me too.
So
Totally obsessed.
so the Mothman what's that guy who put gerbils in his ass?
Oh,
Who's a Buddhist?
Richard Gere.
Didn't he? He
Yeah.
did a Mothman. Richard Gere.
Did
The
he see?
gerbils.
Did he see the Mothman?
Yeah, in his ass.
That's it, James. That's
The Nightmare?
Yeah, that's the documentary. But what's the name of the guy that they? I don't know the name of the guy.
I
thought it was Shadow Man.
Scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. That's the guy.
No.
Yeah, that's the creepy ass guy.
No.
I never saw him. It looks like Freddy Krueger.
It's a big reveal at the end. It's Woody Allen, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Hello, you have sleep paralysis.
Looks like Farhad Muhammad's shadow, dude. It's just Farhad.
He just comes out laughing.
Shut up, Farhad.
He came to my Zanies show, and it was the best to have him.
Yeah,
like,
he's
laugh
the audience
on,
member you want.
Yeah.
He fucking rolls here. Let's watch the trailer. Oh no, this is the whole thing. Never mind.
Let's just watch the whole
Let's
thing.
watch 45
Just
minutes.
watch a movie
of something.
instead.
Well, this looks scary as fuck.
Hey, that's trailer right there.
There we go.
The Nightmare.
Let's see this trailer. Gravita Ventures. Oh, Gravita sounds Italian.
Laying down to go to sleep, I would feel utterly
A lot of
exhausted,
allergies.
almost as if I had just been
We should make one of this about living with
and
allergies in your
my eyes
30s.
sealed shut, my
In
mouth
COVID.
sealed
I
shut,
needed a
and it's as
humidifier.
if everything
That's
was
a white
shutting
woman.
down
She'll accuse you of rape.
except for my awareness.
More than that.
Most people kept trying to sleep on us before I
I
sleep on
had zero control over my body. No matter how hard
Shaggy.
I tried.
He
I
drinks
couldn't move my arms,
Monster
my
Energy
legs.
drinks.
I
Yes.
would try and fight it. It was just so strong.
And then you'll wake up and you're totally paralyzed. You can't move.
Rodney Asher, Room 37.
That's the Stanley Kubrick documentary about all of the symbolism in his movies.
Are much more disturbing.
I began hearing voices and screams and crying. I would hear all the
kinda hot.
sounds of hell.
Everybody getting turned down.
There you go. There's
Nope.
the guy.
Here's Farhad.
That's the guy.
And that
You're
is
better.
when the Shadow Man.
Yeah, the Shadow
would
Man. Okay, I got the
come.
name right.
And he would walk disjointed.
We should redo this trailer, but make it about open mic comedians asking for advice. And then appeared Rob, freshly from Iowa.
That is worse than like in the movies.
How do I get into Zanies? How do I get booked off the Tuesday 10?
Oh, that's cool.
Then it's really not as scary as that trailer makes it look.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty good trailer.
We should totally remix that up. And
So I get sleep paralysis, but I don't get this Shadow Man.
Yeah.
I just,
I haven't been Shadow Man yet.
I just get up. But what I started doing is I tilt my head to the left or something, and it helps. 'Cause
Really?
I think when I sit straight up, it's like it's something with the breathing. Like I can't breathe if my neck is straight up. So
Interesting.
I have that. So like
The other thing that's supposed to help is like elevating your bed, like keeping it at an incline. Like
Oh, my
put
f-
like bricks or something under your bed.
My friend, because he has a eating disorder, he bought one of those bats that come up and it
the
raises
sleep number?
Yeah, so he has a problem where he's a closet eater. I don't know. He has a massive eating problem where he would just eat to the max where his stomach fills up. So he got to bed that way he can sleep properly, because every once in a while he'll go off the rails and eat
And then
like
just
he'll-
try to lay down.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. He can't, the heartburn and everything. So he'll call me and be like, "Hey, Giovanni, can you bring me a cheeseburger, this and that from McDonald's," not knowing he already got a cake and a pizza he ate. He didn't tell me. And he's like, he was the same guy who told me, he was like, "Oh, come over here. Can you sleep in the room with me?" I was like, "No, I was trying to send a video to my girlfriend of me masturbating." And I was like, "Hold on, dude, I have to come first to send the video."
Then I'll bring you your Takis.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
God.
are you in a relationship? What are you just
Yeah.
playing the field? Oh, you are? I thought
yeah.
you were saying just playing the field.
No, I mean, there's been times where it's been on and off, but for the most part, it's on.
Oh, how long have you guys been on and off?
3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but there was a lot of bad. There was a lot of bad.
sound so excited.
Well, there was so many bad situations that led to this road. If you were, James probably remembers some of my Facebook posts and updates. My
Wait,
God.
what were your posts?
Oh, they were just
you
terrible.
post about it on
just
Facebook?
like terrible
You were
people.
going through it, bro.
Oh my God, there were some really bad, like just terrible people that I encountered. Just everywhere.
Puerto Ricans?
Yeah,
I mean,
all Mexicans. No, there was.
no, they're not bad.
It was really bad. I mean, I just try to think, like, one of them, I think I still have the text thread too. Like, we matched and then like we were chatting for like a couple days and then she just like ghosted me. And we were supposed to hang out like in 2 days and I'm like, "Hey, do you still want to like hang out?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "What happened?" I'm just curious. She's like, "Well, if you really must know, I've thought about it and I just realized that I'm way out of your league." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I'm like a 12,
She's
and
like
I
12.
I am just so much better looking and better in every way. I can tell that I'm smarter than you. And I'm like, oh my. And I'm just like reading this barrage of texts that are coming through. And I'm like, is this happening? I'm literally filling up my gas tank reading these texts. And she's like, it's just so hard. I moved here 12 years ago thinking I would have found a man easily. But, you know, it's like I meet nice people like you. And then I talk to them like, shit, I'm just sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. And it went through this like range of emotions, and I'm like, I didn't say a word. I was just like, all right, good luck. You know, peace out. You know? But it was a lot.
Was she a 12?
Yeah, she was pretty attractive, and it just was so weird. That was just that, and that was like a nice one. You know, I've had girls like write messages like, you know, you're funny, you're cute, you know, but you know, I don't date guys unless they're 7'2" and I'm 5'1". You should date an Asian. And I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, date a petite
She's
Asian.
like, they're
right?
petite. And I'm like, you should date a serial killer because they're usually 6'5". You know, good luck with that. Go after Jeffrey Dahmer's protege. But yeah, so it was a rough journey. So, but you know
You get laid after shows, right? You do good.
Sometimes. I mean, not now, but yeah.
Old ladies.
No,
I've slept with 2 old ladies.
I had
Crane's
actually
Butters
I told
shows.
I have a couple of good stories from where it's like pretty much the epitome of my existence is always like he's right there, and then the star just goes poof and fades out. This happened at Old Town. I remember I was at Zanies, and this lady came up to me afterwards. She's like, "You're so funny, you know. Here you go." And she handed me like the comment card, and I'm like, "Oh, the hell?" She handed me a comment card. You know, she think I'm gonna like work in the marketing department or something. So I like go in the bathroom and I open it, and it's got her number on it, and one of the bartenders stops me and she's like, "You know who that is?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "That's a Playboy bunny." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now? Like, that's a Playboy bunny?" She's like, "You got to text her right away. Like, you can't mess this up." And she was like 6'2", and it looked ridiculous standing next to her.
Yeah.
And then I texted her, and she basically wrote me back. She's like, "Hey, I would like to go for a drink." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "How about right now?" And I'm like, "Well, I have an 11 o'clock show, but I can go afterwards." So we went back to my neighborhood. I dropped my car off. We drove, got drinks. She paid. She would not let me pay. She ripped the thing out of my hand, and we went back to my apartment, like right outside. And I was like, "Do you want to come up?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "I can't do that." And I think we just made out for like 25 minutes out front. And I'm pretty sure all the security guards were like high-fiving because they were finally happy. Like, he finally got somebody. And then here's where I think I fucked it up, was like we had a date set for like the following Friday, and then the Improv called, and they're like, "Hey, can you like host for Pablo Francisco?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I forgot that I had this date with her, and I texted her. I'm like, "Hey, would you be cool with like getting dinner like late at night on Friday?" And she's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "This doesn't sound good." Like the morning of, she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on the date." And then that was it. I think I cleaned out my room like a year later, and I texted her in the hopes that it was gonna like rekindle. We talked for like 5 minutes, and then nothing ever happened.
But you made it with a Playboy model.
Yeah, once. It's always like you got to hit when the iron, like right after the show. Otherwise, they're like, he's not a 12.
I had a similar thing, sort of, but she wasn't a Playboy model. She was his old heckler in South Beloit, or was it regular Beloit? Whatever. I think it's regular Beloit. And it was a show. This Vicky Lynn out in that area, right? She was running a show. It was on Valentine's Day, and then she was heckling. She was yelling. She had this bike. She was like a old biker hag. Yeah, that voice like this, kind of. And I remember me and then Mr. Nate from
Shivani, you want to make out?
Yeah, like that.
She's like the mom from Goonies, the lady from Goonies.
Like that. I remember me. I was talking to Mr. Nate. I think he headlined from Milwaukee, and I was like, "Who is this lady?" We're talking shit about her, and then I get some drink tickets, right? From Vicky. She paid me some drink tickets, so I had some whiskey, and then I had some more whiskey, and now I'm kind of buzzed, and I'm leaving, and I'm walking out, and some guy, I'm almost out, I'm about to go home, and some guy's by the door is like, "Hey, you want to give Jennifer," I don't know her name, "you want to give Jennifer a ride?" And I was like,
literally.
I was like, sure, right? I was like, all right, on the way. I was like, whatever. She was at the show, and I want to give her a ride. Not no. The reason she needed a ride, because she got dropped off by her mom. So this lady's 50 something. So her mom is, I don't know, 70, 80, and because Jennifer doesn't have a license.
You're like clearance shopping at Walmart right now.
Yeah, dude. Have you been to Bargains in a Box? Have you been?
You're like, I got her in the bargain bin for $5. $5 in gas.
So I'm like, well, in the moment, I'm like, okay, I'll give her a ride. It's the worst that can happen, right? And then I ended up at this Denny's parking lot, and I think I had sex with her in the parking lot.
You're like, hey, you want to go get a scramblers breakfast?
No, it's over me. I went there to eat because I was kind of buzzed. I was like, man, I don't want to drive all the way back. It's an hour and a half back to Waukegan. It's like, I don't want to drive back. Let me go eat. You want to get some food? We go. we go to the park. I went there to get food, and next thing I know, like I'm having sex with her at this Denny's parking lot. And
Or was it in the Denny's?
oh god, no, the Denny's parking lot. And now I take her home, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, what am I doing? And now I'm like kind of sobering up, and I take her home, and she was like, I'd invite you in because my mom made cinnamon rolls or something, but I don't know.
But my husband's still asleep.
You know how my mom is. No, her son lived down the street or something, right?
God.
He was like, yeah, but, and I was like, what am I? I'm sobering up. I was like, what am I doing, right? But I did before she went inside. I did have anal sex with her, right? This is one of the only times I've ever had anal sex in my life. And I have it now more consistently. But with
This
a
is
woman.
pretty dirty story.
I'm disgusting.
Denny's is the dirtiest, but then the anal's probably the second dirtiest.
Because this for like a week, right? Because I was like, oh, and I think I said, oh, yeah, and I was in the headphone with my friend. Oh, that guy I was telling you about with the sleep problems. He was on headphones with me. He's like, Jovi, are you getting head right now? I was like, yeah. So I hung up on him.
What are you constantly Skyping with this guy?
I'm all
Giovanni, I need my doggies. What's that noise in the background? Are you cheating on me, Giovanni?
I'm always on the phone, which is I've gotten arguments with my girlfriend about always being on the phone with like 100 people. So I was on the phone with him. Yeah,
You like the party line?
yeah, I am, dude. Yeah, I am. All my friends call
I'm
me.
at Denny's. My away message is anal at Denny's. Please respect my away message.
But I was like, and I think I asked her in this way, and this is not, I'm not joking, or was it hyperbole? I think my exact words were like, hey, before you go in, do you mind if I think I said fuck you in the ass. And then she was like, well, this is not my first rodeo, right? And then I fucked her in the ass, and then she went inside, and I remember she had this either Tinkerbell or Tinker, some tattoo on her thigh, and I remember it was like, I just couldn't. That next day when I was driving to work, I was just thinking about that for like a week. It was like her pasty skin, and I was like, oh my God, and I sobered up. So she wasn't exactly a Playboy model, but
you're like, let me top your story with the complete opposite.
but then like the next year,
I fucked a Denny's model in the parking lot.
Yeah. So I think I don't know. Oh my God! But I think that was the first time I ever got laid after a show.
And then you're like, I want to do comedy forever now.
Oh God!
It only gets better from here. That was like a showcase spot at a bar.
It was a Valentine's Day, and there was a blizzard, and then I sobered up. So on the way home, it took like 2 hours to get home because it was like a blizzard. So I'm just like, the whole drive home, I'm sobered up. I was like, what did I do? I was like, at least it was a dude this time. Fuck, because that happened once, but in Wrigleyville.
You're banging dudes.
I don't know what it was. I think it was allegedly. I think it was what is a they? Is it a they now? Okay. What's the woke term?
Yes.
A they?
A trans person.
Yeah, a trans person. These people. Yes, we're all
James
people.
is googling it.
But that.
Yes, trans person.
Just wanted to be sure.
But so you're back. Where did your girl meet? How does is she in the not in the scene?
No, not at all.
And like
Thank
bartender,
God.
Stripper, adjacent to comedy type of schedules, or like a regular person?
Yeah, totally regular and totally opposite. So sometimes there's like conflict with that because it's like, all right, it's 9 p.m. We got to get to bed, and I'm like, ooh, I just did my second show. I'm like, oh, I need some time to power down here, So it is what it is. But I'm a night owl anyway. I'm up every night anyway. Which
okay.
I shouldn't do that.
What time do you wake up? Do you have a day job?
Yeah, sometimes I'm up like really early too, which then it becomes very painful. So I do personal training in the morning, and then I'm like done by like noon or 2. But sometimes I have clients that like insist on like, I still have to do like 6 a.m. and I'm like, oh God. So that gets a little rough. Like usually Fridays it's the worst if you have shows at night, and it's like 2 shows at night. So getting back to that swing was really hard. Like a couple weeks ago, I was like, this is gonna kill me, and it killed me. Just getting back into the swing of like doing multiple shows in one night while working, like, all right, I'm going to do two Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. And then by the end of the weekend, you're like, how did I do this all the time, a year ago and not flinch?
Dude, I used to work at like 8 a.m. to 4:30, right? And then so I'd have to be up at 7 or something. Now I have a 10:37 shift, and I would do more mics and be up later than I do now. And I was like, I don't have, like, it's when there was, maybe my first year, I do 3 mics a night. Sometimes I try to do like the 4 or 5, the jump in or whatever. You did that crazy, whatever I was doing. And I was like, and now it's like I could wake up at a regular time. I do 1 or 2, and it's like, and I don't know if I'm more tired.
You're like, I'm good.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know how the fuck. I mean, I guess I was younger. I was pulling it off more.
I think it's just wearing, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like you gotta like just balance it. It's like if you're tired, like stay home.
Hey,
if you're sick and you have COVID, stay home.
James, do you ever go to Mike's anymore? You just go to shows, right?
I kind of want to go to some mics though.
It's
so much fun, dude.
Well, I've been going to Stretch. That's been a lot of fun because it's super. I don't know if it's just the way things are now, but everybody's attentive, everybody's listening. If you go up, usually you leave because it's like they're just trying to keep the capacity in the back, and it's like it's nice. You go up.
We kind of got to take everything serious now because there's such a desert of like stuff to do. You know?
And I don't know if I hope that's the way it stays because we need to be done with like mics where it's like 700 people on the list.
Do we?
You're only paying attention to like
trigger warning,
you're
bro.
You're only paying attention to like the comic that runs a showcase and it's that extra loud fake laugh in the back like I hope they book me to like a very mediocre joke and then you're like all right cool he's off stage now I can go back to looking at my phone and talking. It's like come on man it's like let's have some productiveness to these mics but Stretch has been fun. But Stretch has really been the only one that I've been back to.
I haven't been, except for like the big, like after things opened up I remember, I didn't even know where the hell we're at. What year is this, 2021? Yeah. There was a point where I did some mics, but they were over by me, and there were some suburb, Lake Villa Park at the Terminus place. But I remember I did a few of those mics, and because I think I had shows coming up, but then things re-shut down. I don't even remember what happened. Because Lori shut things down at one point again, right? Yeah. So it was before that shut down. I wonder if she looks naked.
Okay. I can Google it.
Yeah, can you go Lori Lightfoot naked?
This is
I really want to know.
Back to the nightmare.
I wonder how she looks. Because when I was younger,
she just comes up as the Shadow Man.
Let's see. Apologize to
Probably
social.
on a list for this.
Come on, let's see that Lightfoot puss. I want to see her naked.
I don't think anyone's even photoshopped it yet.
You're not gonna find that.
Pussies, cowards. George Floyd, what happened to that guy? So, whatever happened to George Floyd? What happened with that guy? Hey, something else was going on right now? Was it? No, Asians. I forgot something. Oh, not to get a little political, but wait. So what happened in Georgia? What's the voting law? Why is everybody leaving Georgia? The MLB. They changed something. Do you guys know?
They changed the voting laws.
Oh yeah.
You have to have like it's
been horrible for a long time.
Whites only, or what happened?
So basically, voting laws. Let me get it right. Here's what to know about the new Georgia voting law.
Georgia voting law.
Yeah, it's basically like a Jim Crow extension / smokescreen to
Jim Crow
voter suppression.
So you have to. Supporters also argued. Is it the Lord of the Rings?
No, that's just fucking ads I get. Yeah.
Oh, Christ, you've been looking for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, for sure. Special ballots be created for nonpartisan elections. Ballots must be printed in black and white. Cutoff date 11 days before primary. So they're like shortening the amount of time you can vote, I guess. Deadlines, state ID. You got to have an ID to vote.
Well, it was just like the same thing in this past election where it was like long lines, like voter suppression, but like like
there's like stricter rules for
screened
your
out in like different ways.
Hey, is Georgia the place where that guy showed up? The guy showed up with a horse. Did he have an ad to vote on a horse? Who was that guy? Did he get run out?
There's been a lot of wild shit that's happened in the last year.
I want to move to the South. I just went in Tennessee, and then it's fun down there. I'm ready, dude.
The wild South.
There was trees. There was people with guns. I was at the pool, right? There was a look at this chick, and then I overheard her talking. And she was from West Virginia, and I looked at her, and I don't think is it racist? She was white, so I guess it's okay. But she looked like, or now what's the word? What do you call people that have sex with their family? Is there a name for that?
Yeah, incestual.
Incestual, right?
Or West Virginians.
She's from West Virginia. Look at her face. It looked like, man, she looked like she comes from a line of people that had sex with her. And it's a stereotype.
Like Deliverance.
Yeah, Deliverance. You got pert of mouth. Is that Deliverance? No, wait. Is that the one where squeal like a pig?
Yeah, squeal like a pig is deliberate.
I don't know enough of the lines.
I recently, I don't know if this is, how do you guys like nipples? What's up with nipple play? I'll let you guys go first. Do you guys like your nipples being touched?
I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, same.
Me too. I've never, but the other day, I was with my lady, maybe yesterday, and she was mad at me, right? She was upset at me.
Did you forget to take a Ritalin before this?
Huh?
This is normal, bro.
This is normal.
It's like, what about anal? All right, nipple play, guys.
I haven't recorded in a while, and then I've been stressed a lot of my mind, so I feel good now. I'm very stressed out right now, all right? Work has been busy. I'm trying to look for a new place. I'm very stressed out. I'm trying to get my girlfriend pregnant. This is where I'm worried about, the pregnancy thing. Like, so if she's not pregnant in the next week or two, maybe, does my stuff not work? Because she's been ovulating.
Your boys don't swim.
Yeah, and I put a few loads in her, so in the back of my head, it's like, in 2 weeks, if she's not pregnant, how is it hard for you to like?
So male fertility over the last 20 years is down 43%. Yeah. Reading a lot of bad stuff. A lot of plastics in our
No
food.
more little Giovanni's.
There's a scientist that says, like a fertility doctor that says that we're on track to be completely sterile as a species by 2041.
All right, I'm gonna go on a carnivore diet or something and drink more fish oil.
Apparently, that's good for you.
I'm gonna have to, because it's. Have you ever had any scares?
No.
Okay, I had one, right?
Maybe like one time.
And then,
but it was like a dumb, like, I'm freaking out, and I know there's no reason to freak out. Like, when I was like in my late 20s.
I had one. I'm not gonna. I can't say. Let's say it was West Virginian, right?
So I was in this Denny's parking lot.
No, it was. It has a West Virginian thing too. Anyways, get back to the nipples. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. But she was attacking me, right, verbally, because she was while I was inside her. But it's like it was one. I feel like I could get not laid easier, but it's easier to get laid when, let's say, you're trying to have a baby, and it's like, hey, this is the window, so like I know you're upset, but gotta come in you. So I mean, take it or leave it, bitch. You want this? So it's cool because I could pull the like, hey, the ovulation card. But then she was upset.
The O card.
The O card. Oh.
Oh my God.
So I pulled the O card, right? But she's still upset at me, so she's, attacking me. It's like, oh, are you going to text that girl or blah, 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 whatever she was saying allegedly. But then she started grabbing my nipples, and it squeezed it, and I was like, oh. Wait, it squeezed a little bit harder, so I had her grab both my nipples while I was inside her, and it felt really good. But it was like the pain.
This is like your new discovery at this point.
Yeah. At 36, I was like, oh, I like my...
I'm a nipple guy.
But it had to be aggressive, you know what I mean?
I like my nipples abused.
My nipples abused, and maybe, I don't know if I was talked down to a little bit. Do you have any weird kinks? Or are you pretty, is it vanilla is the word? Yeah, is that racist now, to vanilla? Yeah. I like Neapolitan ice cream sandwiches.
Little rocky road.
Hey. Do you have any Italian kinks, right?
Yeah. I think I'm...
Stromboli at your girl?
Yeah. Yeah. Tomato sauce play. That's about as far as I'll go. No, I'm pretty normal.
Oh.
Normal but open-minded.
Yeah. We might have left the butt plug at this hotel. Oh, I was at the window today.
I want to talk to you about the butt plugs.
So at the hotel we might have forgot the butt plug at is at the window. I took a picture of your face at the Kenosha Comedy Club.
Oh, God.
I saw your face this morning when I got up.
So wait, how does this tie into the butt plug?
I think we left it there in the hotel room.
Oh, God. You were there?
Yeah.
When was that?
This morning and last night.
Oh, wait, you were at Kenosha Comedy Club?
No, I was just at the hotel. That hosts the Kenosha
The picture
Comedy.
is still up from three months ago?
I got to send it to you. I took a picture of it. Hold on.
It's hilarious. It's still up. Yeah. They haven't updated their boards.
No, it's you. Vince was there. Mr. Showtime was there.
Yeah.
Give me a second here.
Mr. Showtime.
Oh, my God.
He was there. He just did Zanies.
He's like an experience. I worked with him one time on the road. And
his name is Mr. Showtime?
He like dances. He lip syncs. He strips. I mean, the guy has more energy than anybody I've ever seen perform.
I gotta find this.
Hey, there you go, sir.
Tony Scarboni.
Anthony Bonazzo, right? Vince Acevedo. I think you're right on Mr. Showtime. Like, yeah, Mr. Showtime.
Yeah, we did a road show together.
So I was watching his videos, and what does he do? Like,
everything. I just said, like, strips, he lip syncs, he dances, he's like...
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy takes his clothes off?
Super... Like it's not like naked.
Still.
It's like a lip sync / strip show.
David Scott.
I couldn't find a clip of him.
He's got a huge following.
He does.
And people love him. He's a super nice guy. We got to do those 2 rooms, which I feel like this is like a rite of passage for stand-ups in Chicago, is to do Pasquale's Pizza, which is on the UP, and then you go to the whatchamacallit in Wisconsin at the Fun Zone. What's the town? I'm blanking now. The town in Wisconsin that's in Sheboygan.
Oh, okay.
So you do those 2 rooms. It's basically you go to Pasquale's, you get fed. The guy's the nicest guy in the world. Feeds you whatever you want that's on the menu. You do your show. It looks like a old strip club. There's like still like cages and stuff. The crowd is phenomenal every single time. And then he pays you cash. You go back to your hotel. The hotel is super sketchy. But for some reason, every time I've stayed there, I sleep better there than I've slept in my own bed. Like I go there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get murdered in my sleep.
You're like, get this humidifier.
And then I lay on my bed and I wake up at like noon. I'm like, oh my God, I've slept better. So then you get on the road and you drive 4 hours, and then you are at the Sheboygan Fun Center, which is not the same room at all. It's not terrible, but it's not as good. The crowd is like drunken, a little more, drunker, rowdier, and they don't like necessarily like you unless like you say something immediately that they like latch onto. Me and Vince Carone did it last year. So like I headlined one. I took Tim Cox with me, and so he featured a headline. And then they didn't have Sheboygan at that time of year because it was off season or whatever. So then Vince Carone called me up. He's like, "Hey man, do you want to come feature?" He's like, "I got like a last minute drop," and I was like, "I don't know if he's like, I don't know if you need the money." And I'm like, "All right." So I didn't really know Vince at the time. We ended up driving up. We did the show, awesome show, and then we drove to Sheboygan the next day, and the host was like this like food runner, and he was such a prick. He goes up and like starts doing bits, and he's bombing, like just straight up bombing. And he's like, all right, I guess give it up for this next comic. He seems like a piece of shit. I don't know anything about him. And I just like get up on stage, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Hey, I'm like, hey, blue collar. Like he's got like this blue collared shirt on. And I tore into him. And then, of course, like Vince goes up and it's like, give it up one more time for that piece of shit host. And Vince like tears him apart for like 6 minutes straight. He's like, get out of the kitchen, you. Don't ever fucking talk about my friend like that. And it was like, the kid like thought we were going to kill him. And then he hid in the kitchen. He wouldn't even come out. And I told the lady, I'm like, you probably should have a talk with like your staff that they shouldn't say this next guy's a piece of shit. like, So that's a rite of passage for comics in Chicago, is doing Pasquale's and then going up to the Fun Center in Sheboygan. Then you got to drive home. If it goes bad, it's like 3 hours, and you're like, oh God.
The clip I showed you before we started the podcast, it was Adam Crocious. It was at one of my first shows I did was that Old Town Clowns with Patrick Flanagan, a former actual clown, right? So
and
he's
comic.
a clown.
I don't know if he does comedy anymore.
No, I don't think so. Like I see him on Facebook. So I say happy birthday when it's on his birthday because that was one of my first shows I ever did, and he paid me well. I think I got like $60.
Yeah, they paid. They definitely paid.
I was like, what? Never.
It was like shockingly good.
Yeah,
you're like, whoa.
Never got paid, but he told me before. It's like, hey, just this room is kind of like
rough,
and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, but it was the first time seeing a rough room. So there was that one lady where Adam finally just snapped on her, and he was like, shut the fuck up,
because he's had a few meltdowns. Yeah, that was one of many, but yeah, man, people don't realize there's so many different things like comedy wise throughout the Midwest, and like those 2 rooms, like even locally, like doing that room, going on the road, like doing Sheboygan and Fun Center and
Mustangs.
You're just getting
Mustangs,
or just
right?
That was a terrible bomb. I think early on. Yeah, back I did like my 3rd month doing comedy here.
Oh, okay.
And then just around, then when you start getting booked with like Funny Business, and like they have like different clubs, and some of them are better than others, and some of them are no longer in existence. I remember one time I drove like 2 hours to do this show, and there was 6 people there, and he's like, you got to do like 35. And I'm like, for 6 people? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, are you going to give me the light? And he's like, yeah, when do you want it? And I was like, at like 30? He's like, okay. And then he never gives me the light. And then I see him in the background. He's like waving his hand like a lunatic. I get off stage. He goes, I gave you the light at 35 like you asked. And you went on till 40. So I don't know. I might have to report this. And I'm like, now I'm going to get in trouble because you're an idiot and you weren't paying attention. But
I remember one time I did a show. I'm not gonna say where it was, but it was close by. And then, but the guy was a nice guy, and he was hosting, and he didn't do a lot of comedy, but he ran the show, and he had good comics on it. But I told him, I was like, hey, I was doing like, I don't know, it was 10 or 12 minutes. I was like, give me a light at 2 minutes. He literally he gave me the light at 2 minutes in, and I'm there, right? And I'm like, it was like 2 minutes into my set, and I see the light, and I was like, how the fuck? And at the time, I couldn't like.
It doesn't understand.
And I was like, and then I went. I
just
felt
like
bad.
to know I've been on stage for 2 minutes.
And I got off the fight because I was confused. He was giving me the light, and I was like, did I? And I didn't have any. Usually, I have a thing with a timer. My recording, I could see it. I didn't. And I was like, how many minutes? And then I go a little bit longer, so I ended up doing 5 minutes.
This bit about Denny's isn't that long.
And he was like, I was like, oh yeah. And I was like, hey, what did something happen or what? And he was like, what do you mean? He said, 2 minutes. Oh, like 2 minutes before. Oh, like so 10 minutes if you do 12. Oh, I thought you went 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
Just like
you meet all kinds. What was that room? I think this might have been before you were here. Maybe even you, James, was that guy that used to run that room on Irving Park. Everybody would sign up for it.
At the Globe?
He'd put up sign. No, next door. He'd put up a sign like Chicago, like, "Hey, now booking for the next killer comedy show," and like everybody would be like, spot, and it would be called a showcase, but it would just be 14 Chicago comics doing 10 minutes. No crowd. No crowd.
Was it that spot where they did where Tim McLaughlin ran that one show? It's like that black box theater looking space.
No, it's further. It's like right on the corner. I think maybe it's Sylvie's.
What are you talking? That sounds familiar.
So they have a huge stage. So I'll never forget the guy who hosted it sounded like Byron Allen when he would come up, like just kind of like quiet, a little awkward, would try to do a couple jokes that didn't really hit. And then I remember like the first time I did it, he's like, are you ready to laugh? And it's just us. It's all comedians. We're like, yeah, we're ready for the mic to start. And all of a sudden he goes, give it up for your first. And then you just hear, and the speaker explodes and is smoking, and it's Colin Bullock. It's like, Jesus, and jumps back. Yeah, there's like a sparked flame. He's like, Jesus. And then the host was like, all right, guys, we only got like 76 more comics left. Keep that energy rolling. And I'll never forget that line. It killed me. I was laughing so hard when he said that.
I forgot about Colin.
Yeah, but that would be like, and once in a blue moon, you'd have like 4 people would stumble in, and then it would be like, it would make the night. But most times you would get nobody. And it would just be you doing an open mic on a stage with a microphone, and like the setup, like you were like a real show. It'd be like if you're going to have sex and it was like you're in a bedroom and the girl is there, but like it's not a girl. It's just 12 comedians staring at you. And you're like, oh, I don't really get to try sex. I just talk about what I'm going to do. You never actually get to the sex part. So those are some horrible rooms.
Do you have any advice for these up and coming open micers?
Do those rooms.
Yeah.
Stop going to like mics to be seen and like work on your shit. Like, I think people like
or quit.
They want to. They forget.
Or quit.
That
There's
too.
nothing wrong with quitting and taking a break.
Definitely quit. Like if you're not happy, like why would you keep doing it? Yeah. Like you know how much like time, energy,
I enjoyed
money you're gonna
yes.
lose or money you're gonna make, but like it's a lot of sacrifice. And if you don't like love everything about it and like can deal with all the bullshit stuff too, there's no reason for you to, like there are so many great desk jobs and like other careers that you could like make a killing doing.
There's OnlyFans now. You can just go finger yourself.
Go put your butthole up on cam.
Yeah, just put your butthole up, make your dad
a week.
cry for
so
$30 a month.
That's one thing. And just like work and like keep reworking and stop doing like, oh, I've got 2 minutes, so now I'm going to showcase this 2 minutes. Like get another 5, 10, 15, 20. Like just keep going. That's what I was happy with COVID was like, I wrote a whole new 35, 40 minutes. And it was like in the beginning when I started working at clubs, it was like doing well, but not as well as I wanted it to. And I just kept reworking. And now it's like all the sets that I'm doing now, if they're like 25 minutes plus, it's all new stuff. And that's a great feeling to be like, I just did an hour in March and now I'm doing 35, 40 new minutes on top of that. So it's like, just keep building these chunks, but like you need to like get to work, it's not just showing up. And it's like, I think a lot of people think it's like mics are like you just go to the gym, but you just watch everybody else working out, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do my curls that I've been doing, and this is what I do. And then they go up and they're like, okay, we've seen curls, which is usually your shock jokes or racy shit,
Holocaust rape, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, come up with something. Do totally different perspective. Like that's why when I was running that comedy bar, Mike, it was so treacherous because it was like every week it was like this same 6 minutes of them blowing the light and then be like, I'm going to get him on this one. I'm like, you didn't get him for the first 5. Why do you think that final 6th minute is going to do anything for you? And then they'd be like, oh, you fucking, people will come up and like just that's the other thing too, is like be fucking respectful. I've talked to different bookers and just have the way the comics tell me that they talk to them. James will talk after the show, but like,
oh yeah,
I mean, just like, holy shit, like the stuff that is said that I'm like, I can't even fathom ever talking to a booker that way and expect to ever work someplace with just utter disrespect, like, and emails and like, you son of a bitch, you saw me kill, what the fuck? Give me a weekend, like demanding
Calm down,
it.
Michael.
It's just like, my God, out of control, man.
You have any plugs?
So just go and work, man. And like get over it. Like, you know how much like injustices there's gonna be that you're gonna see. I love when comics message me and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe." Once you say I can't believe so and so got X, you should quit immediately because like that means you're too busy focusing on what anybody else is doing and not what you're doing. That's a hard balance, but like you gotta.
You're not gonna get funnier bitching about other comics on Facebook.
You gotta stay focused on what you're doing.
Go right or quit or start an OnlyFans. Speaking of OnlyFans, you have an OnlyFans? Any
I do.
plugs?
I have a
Social
OnlyFans.
media?
You can find me at Little Italy. Coupon code. Coupon code for 10% off is just Italian beef, and we'll get you guys hooked up with that. So. No, what'd you say? Plugs.
Social
sorry.
media, plugs. Shows.
Yeah.
A few weeks this comes out. I got delayed.
What am I
week 'cause
doing? I'll be at the Laugh Factory this Saturday for 2 shows, and I'm headlining the Comedy Bar May 21st. So that whole weekend.
Ooh, okay, that'll be about that.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Is that my TikTok? Oh, that's my Instagram.
Instagram. Oh yeah, what's your TikTok?
TikTok.
We're
is
big
just,
on TikTok here.
Same as my Instagram.
You're on TikTok?
Comedian trainer.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my TikTok?
Yeah, he's always talking.
I'm new to TikTok,
He talks
but I
all the time,
encourage
yeah.
it.
I've got some pretty good TikToks.
Yeah.
He's always talking or ticking.
Get a TikTok out there.
I've got some
everybody.
talks and some ticks.
Hey. So, comedy
And
trainer.
some
follow him on
TikToks. Comedian trainer on Instagram and on TikTok.
And Mr.
And
Webb.
don't DM me on Facebook for booking information.
Mr. James, do you have any advice or any plugs to Michael Cooper?
Let's
Anybody
see.
have him
God,
blocked?
can you please stop? Don't follow me anywhere. No, I'm on Instagram at Eclism. I am selling NFTs, which is totally not a scam, and you should absolutely buy them on OpenSea.io. Just search for Voidwalker, and you'll find all my shit. And then check out
Non-fungible token.
Check out People of Comedy's YouTube channel, where the director's cut of our South by Southwest production is currently living. Not as I say it, because it's still not done, but when you hear this, it will be live. And then, if you want to start a podcast, hit me up. A bunch of spots just opened up because people are moving because they don't know what they're doing. So, hit me up at People of Comedy Network on Instagram or Facebook.com/People of Comedy. And we have a brand new website. If you want to know more about what I'm doing around town and what I've done for Chicago comedy and what I can do for you, go to chicago.studio. That is our brand new website, chicago.studio. You can find out more about Pop Studios, which is our company, and what we can help you achieve production-wise.
Nice.
Chicago.studio. So follow Loboden Podcast on Instagram. TikTok is Loboden Podcast. And I have the other social media. Facebook, if you send me a friend request, I probably won't add you because I'm a weirdo and I think you're a cop or a bot. But I'm pretty free and lax on Instagram. Snapchat, don't add me because I won't accept you unless I know who you are. Because I used to use that to whore around, but I have a girlfriend now and I don't do that. And thank you for everybody who came out to, what was it, Mescal Monday sometime at Zanies.
What a fucking show.
What a fun show,
Nice.
man.
Congrats on that.
Thank you. Super fun. Thanks for Brian Morton. Ojo de Tigre with Mescal. Everybody that came out. Next show is 5/3. So every Monday, we're gonna get all the beaners and spics of of Chicago, that area, and we're gonna have some fun.
He's like, and then we're gonna invite the Italians, and we're gonna have a war.
We're gonna run out, and then we'll start. Eventually we run out of Latinos, and you start. Okay, they're kind of Latinos.
All right,
they're
it's
half whatever.
Paisano Mondays now at Zanies.
But thank you for everybody to come out. Super fun show. Oh, and then James got to meet my girlfriend finally. She was so excited to see you.
Oh my God, Jessica! Shout out, dude.
Shout out to Jessica. I'll see you a little bit. Try to put a baby in you. All right, Lobo Dad.
Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. 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 It's the Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. It's the Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. It's the Lobo